Elections, from political party nominations to the election itself, to the...
After 11 days of interviews, 44 candidates for the 8 positions of member and 8 for the single position of chairman to the IEBC, the selection panel has concluded the interviews. And given that the body will midwife Kenya's next election, questions on integrity, leadership, honesty and firmness dominated the second and last day. First to face the panel Wednesday was current IEBC chair Ahmed Isaac Hassan. For Hassan, being at the helm of a current body that manages the country's electoral matters, he was put to task over the alleged disquiet in the IEBC, especially as regards the hiring of staff for almost 3 hours.
Why was it necessary for the commissioners to hire the staff who should have been hired by the directors? It caused a problem.
I don't know whether
you have a complaint to that effect.
Okay, but I think you need to look at Section 41.
No, I think my understanding, Ahmed, is that you had a constitutional mandate,
yes,
but you chose to exercise it in terms of
the way we wanted to do it. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's the understanding.
I agree with Sophie. Maybe we would not agree with. I take full responsibility.
Isaac was also queried on the entire electoral process and whether there were lessons that could be learned from the Bosch 2007 election on the way forward in terms of the country's electoral process.
Yeah. What would you consider to have been Mr. Kivitu's biggest mistake in the 2007 elections?
I think he was unable to distinguish the gravity of the moment and his statements.
Do you have what it takes to control the process without influence from peers, from politicians?
It is these tenets of the Constitution that have been given preeminence at the IEBC selection panel interviews that have raised the bar, setting a precedence over the body that will steer the 2012 polls. Article 10 of the Constitution on National Values, read together with Chapter 6 on Leadership and Integrity, largely informed the panel's decisions to disqualify the next 2 candidates for failing to meet this constitutional threshold. George Njenga was the first to be disqualified during the morning session over his alleged membership to the Institute of Certified Public Secretaries of Kenya, or ICPSK.
You cannot be deregistered if you're not registered in the first instance.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that from the bottom of my heart, I know that I never joined them in the first place.
Kinuthia Mwangi wa Mwangi was the next to face the panel and was faulted on the grounds of tax non-compliance. Also interviewed was Anne Wanja Karaoke. Dr. Ekuru Okot, at a news conference after the interviews were concluded, sought to explain some of the dynamics of the process while exuding confidence in it.
There were a few candidates, however, who had submitted documents qualifying them for the interview, but who, on interrogation, the panel noted glaring disparities.
The Commission now has to pick from a list of 6 for the IEBC chairman's position, which means any of these candidates could be the next chair of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. The panel will pick 3 names for the chair and 30 names for the position of member. They will forward the names to the President and Prime Minister by next week Monday for them to pick 8 names for member and 1 name for chairman to constitute the 9 persons steering the IEBC once parliamentary approval is secured. The implementation clock continues ticking. Now, after the President and the Prime Minister make their pick, they will forward those names to Parliament to make their decision. With the political innuendos that have been going on in this country, it will be interesting to see how that debate will go. The fates of the candidates who will form the IEBC now rests in the foyers of the National Assembly. Willis Raburu, Citizen Live at 9, Nairobi.